When Steph Curry dropped 62 points on the Blazers back in 2021, the basketball world saw it as a statement game from the baby-faced assassin, whose Warriors weren't even invited to the NBA bubble the previous year. But what you might not remember is that his arch-rival Damian Lillard more than likely lit the match that sparked Steph's highest scoring performance in a single game. On the Get Got pod with Marshawn Lynch and Mike Robinson, Dame got super honest about what had to be one of his least favorite nights as a pro.
I'd say I got so when I say it was maybe 3 years ago, and it was after Golden State, the Warriors, they was having a bunch of injuries. They was having injuries. Their team had swapped out, and this was after they had won the first couple championships, and then they were struggling. People was double teaming Steph, triple teaming Steph, and before we played Golden State. We played them back-to-back times in San Francisco. So we played them, and then there was a day, and then we played them again. It was just we played 2 times in a row there. So we played them the first time, and we beat them. We did the same thing the other teams doing to Steph. We was double teaming, switching, we beat them, whatever. And they was dang, teams are giving Steph a lot of attention. They chasing them, they fouling them, they being physical with them. And I was I know how you feel, because that's how teams, when my team was down and, we were struggling and they wasn't respecting who I was on the court with all the time, they would guard me like that. I was over the years, Steph played with a lot of vets, and, they knew how to get him the ball. They knew how to get him open. They knew how to play. I said, but now he kind of, he's seeing something different, because it's different now. And, they took it and spent it I was saying, now he see how, now he gonna see if he can still do it type. But really, I with Steph, so I never say no backhanded weird about Steph.
Yeah.
After I say it, we go play him again 2 days later, and this Steph comes out and he is shooting every time, and I'm Steph he knows obviously he a competitor, I'm a competitor, so I'm gonna try to get at him just like he gonna try. But he coming out and he is shooting, and I'm and Steph, he the type he's not going to announce that I heard what you said, or you said this, you said that. He just gonna come out he's a true competitor. They think he a little light skinned dude, but he a real competitor. He come out and he is just hitting 3 after 3 after 3. So I'm my first thought is I don't care. I don't care. I didn't mean it like that, but I don't care if you trying to make a statement. If you think I meant it like that, it is what it is. So I started trying to go back, and I think I ended up having maybe 28 or something, but it wasn't my night. But this is
pulling
again. When you damn, now they're gonna be saying, I said this, and he came back and he ended up having he had 62.
Ooh.
It wasn't all on me, but it was just on our team. He was just bang, 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 and he running around celebrating. So after the game, I shake his hand and we walk off, and I'm walking up the court, and I'm man, and they just got my so they gonna make it seem Dame said this, and then he did this, I just knew it was going to be that, but it wasn't even, my comments wasn't even a shot at all, but I definitely got that.
If you want to be an NBA superstar, you almost have to have an all-time Madison Square Garden moment. MJ, Kobe, LeBron, they've all had amazing performances inside the world's most famous arena. For a young Steph Curry, that moment came back in 2013 when he dropped an unforgettable 54 points on Carmelo Anthony and the New York Knicks. On Melo's podcast, he talks about experiencing that breakout game firsthand and what he saw from a young Steph that would lead the babyface phenom to electrify the Garden faithful with moves that would later be seen as the standard Curry experience.
It was different because Steph used to come to the workout. I would never let people in the workout. I never wanted guys that I had to go up against know what I was doing, and you know what I'm saying? So my first couple years, I'm in the gym. CP is CP is coming out of college, first year, he's coming to the workouts now. CP's bring Steph to the workouts. Like we having these type of, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is some good shit. And I'm watching Steph. He's like just studying like all the shit that we was like the different type of kind of unorthodox workouts that we was doing with the tennis ball and you know what I mean? Close your eyes and watch the fingers over here, count to 5. Like it was just like we was doing a different type of workout. Now going throughout his career as a younger Steph, the work that he was actually putting in and the type of workouts that he was doing, that he built off of that foundation. You know what I'm saying? Being in the gym, understanding it. So by the time we get to New York, I'm looking, we are reading the scout report like, nah, champ, you can't leave him. Like you
pick him up full court.
You have no responsibility tonight, G. Just chase him around. You have none.
Get exhausted following that man.
That's it.
Running through screens all night.
That's it. And this was like at the very, this was like the takeoff of
13
Steph.
was,
13 was the takeoff of Steph. You know what I'm saying? It was fun to match up against that. You know, as far as like, not like one-on-one, but it was fun to be, us against Golden State and like where we was at this time in 2013. They was at, Golden State. So Steph was, he's battling injuries, and all of that. So I knew that was the only thing that was like, would hold him back, or would hinder him from doing anything else. But you still knew the type of talent and skill that he had. And we knew all he had to do was once he get healthy, and he get more comfortable with this game and the NBA game and the pace of the game and the speed of the game and figure out his niche in this game, it's over.
Carmelo wasn't the only Knick left shaking his head after Steph's legendary 54-point Garden performance. On that same night, a young Iman Shumpert learned a valuable and painful lesson about speaking up on defense. Here's Shump on All the Smoke, telling the guys why he wasn't the primary defender on Steph that night.
One of my biggest regrets, and Steph, I'm sure you would have been the light-skinned man either way. You was going to be the light-skinned man, you know what I'm saying? That was destined for you. But I feel like when you came to the Garden and I let Raymond Felton's pride get in the way and he had 50, I feel like that's when you decided you was just going to the league.
Bro, you know what? I ain't mad at you.
That was the moment?
Bro.
I think so.
Bro, I believe so. Like, can we go back and track?
When I tell you.
That's my dog, but I get it.
Raymond, that's my dog too. That's why I say Raymond said, Shump, no. Like, he was like, bro, like, stop. I'm like, G, come on, G. Like, come on. Because I had switched on to him. I immediately poked the ball away. Let's get to this dude, Joe. Like, stop letting dude do this before he really be doing this stuff. Because I seen it coming. I'm like, the confidence is changing, G. He going back to Davidson on us, bro. Nah, his jersey ain't red, bro. Don't let him do that. You feel me? I'm like, he doing the shit that we was like, you can't do that in the league. He started doing it. Yeah, you going too fast shooting that jumper now. That's too much. You ain't even holding it up no more. He was falling and shit. No, bro. Now he talking to the crowd. He pointing at fans. I'm like, Steph don't even do that. Hey, New York, my bad if I was a part of that, because shorty, I did not. I could have ran up to Raymond like, hey, G, you're guarding whoever the fuck else. But I'm now guarding Steph 94 feet. But I had just got back from injury, so they was like, Shump, you overgassing yourself. He gonna do you. That's how they was saying it. You on a minute restriction. He's gonna do you. I really felt like in my heart, like we are birthing an animal, bro. I really think of that moment. I'm like, bro, I think we ignited that confidence that came, because after that game, bro, he got very disrespectful.
Yeah, he took off.
He got disrespectful. He started trying shit.
2012, 13, right?
2012, 13, yep, that's it. I'll never forget being in the huddle. Kurt Thomas came, grabbed my shoulder, say, hey, man.
Okay, now that sounds different.
He say, hey, man, calm down. But I'm like, Coach, man, what the fuck? I'm like, bro, he putting bullets in us, bro. Like, what y'all mean? It's not cool. Foul him. Hit him. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Take a foul. He coming off the screen. Hit him. I'm like, bro, y'all want me to do it? But I'm like, asking Coach, they like, Woody like, come get wild, man, over here. Calm down, man. That man on the wood. They like talking to me like it's... Before we knew it, the man had 50 and the Garden was cheering for him. I was sick, bro. Light-skinned man, I just want you to know, bro.
Light-skinned
you
man.
ruined my day. Oh, do you know the light-skinned man, the light-skinned man, the light-skinned man? Do you know the light-skinned man that lives on Drury Lane? Oh, bro, that light-skinned man now got real vicious after that, dog. It was real, it was run away with it after that. He started shooting it from 40, started turning around when he shot. I'm like, you Gilbert Arenas now?
Yeah.
You Gilbert? Jesus Christ, Agent Zero pieces?
Knicks will do it to you.
Man.
Now, when it comes to Steph Curry's long list of iconic performances, you might think the 62-point game or the 54 at the Garden would be his personal favorite. But according to Steph, it's neither. For him, the game that has meant the most so far is Game 4 of the 2022 NBA Finals. The way he talks about it, you can tell it hit different. The pressure, the stakes, the moment, it all came together that night for a man who had been haunted by lackluster finals performances. Here's the chef himself discussing what made that game stand out above the rest.
That was kind of an intentional way I approached that game specifically because it's kind of the through line of the last 3 years. And, watching, injuries happen to my teammates, myself, go through a year where you hear all the doubts of we'll never be back there at that level, just to fight to make the play-in tournament the year before and what it took to give ourselves some life. And then fast forward to last season where you believe you can get there, but you really don't know because it's a new crop of guys. It's, the older version of us. And there's just a lot of question marks. And then you stay in the moment, plot your way through it, play at a high level, get to the finals. And I have so much experience in that setting. Obviously, that was the 6-1 and it was different because it was Boston. It was in that hostile environment. And it was different because we were tested in a way that, was new. And we lose game 3 and you're in that environment. It's like, holy shit, this is going to be a dogfight. We knew that going in, but this was a different element of emotional, response that we hadn't really, seen before. So game 4 is first off, we were already, according to ESPN, we're already 84% underdogs in the final. So now go down 3-1. We might as well not even play after that. So how big the game is. But then you get into the first quarter and we're already down, I think 12-4 or something like that. And we slowly gained some momentum. I don't know, I hit that one shot and I started yelling at the crowd. I was like, this is going to be a different motherfucking game. I said that. My mama got mad at me because of my word choice. And I was like, you're right. But I was just unleashing a different level of I'm here. We're here. And you ain't gonna count the parade already in terms of, the 19,000 people that seemed to be in unison on what they were saying every single possession. It was we're here and we're gonna respond and, see what happens. And a lot of people talk about just the way that we play, it's free flowing and it's poetic and there's a lot of movement and, high level skill and all that. But you gotta have, that we have the most competitive guys. Draymond complimented Clay. Clay's one of the most competitive guys. Draymond the same. I'm the same. Andre's the same. And so just required another level of response from us. For me, I wanted to lead that, even though we were still down in the first quarter. I was like, I don't know really what I'm talking about, but let's go. And kind of manifested a 3-game run that was for the books. And game 4 was definitely my favorite game of my career because of the stakes that were a part of it and the fact that, we lose that game. Who knows if we ever, have a chance to win a championship again.
While Steph remembers Game 4 as the most meaningful game of his career, Al Horford remembers it for a very different reason. He could feel what that win meant to Golden State and what it took from Boston. Here's Big Al on JJ Redick's podcast giving his side of Curry's Game 4 masterpiece.
That game, obviously for us, being in that position for the first time, having those opportunities, there was just a lapse for our group that we just couldn't finish that stretch run there. But also, there's credit to Steph and what he did. What he did was pretty unbelievable. The Garden, such a hostile place like we talked about, and for him to be able to go in there and kind of take over that game in those moments. Once he did that, I remember that when we went back in the locker rooms, the way that I heard them celebrate as a team winning that game, at that moment it felt like they won the championship. That's how hard they were celebrating after just the game. It was 2-2. The way that I just remember hearing them and seeing them, the excitement, going back to their locker room, and the locker rooms in the Garden are pretty close to each other. And hearing them and with that level and that excitement, it was like, this just wasn't, they just didn't win just one game. For them, this was something else. In my opinion, I felt like they were, you know, they were, like you said, they were about to be done. And the fact that they got that new life, that kind of propelled them.
That's a good way to put it.
When people talk about Steph's greatness, they usually focus on the highlights, the deep threes, the handles, and the crazy scoring nights. But according to his longtime teammate Draymond Green, there's a whole other side to it that nobody sees. Behind the scenes, Steph has made considerable changes to his workout routine, adjustments that only those who are with him every day like Draymond notice and appreciate. When Green was on Podcast P, he broke down how Steph has evolved in the weight room to stay at the top of his game well into his 30s.
The change that I've watched him make as far as the weight room goes over the last 3 years speaks to his work ethic and who he is, because if Steph doesn't get stronger post-2020, he's still Steph Curry and he's still shooting the piss out the ball. But him getting as strong as he got has actually changed his game. Like, you can't run him off his spot. You can't just bump him and he's falling over. He's getting to where he wants to go. Mm-hmm. And so I think his dedication in the weight room, and when I say dedicate, that man is in the weight room every single day. He in the weight room before the game. He doing a full lift after the game. Wow. Like, he in the weight room dedicated before practice. He in the weight room after practice. Every single day. To watch his transformation and mindset. Like, I remember the days we all would walk past like, man, I'm not going in there today. Like, how can I fucking slide around the weight room today? Like, I remember all the days of us having those conversations.
Right.
Hey, you lifting today? I don't know about today. All right, I ain't lifting either.
I get extra shots today. I ain't going to the weight room.
Exactly. You know, and so to watch him, and then also like in watching him work out, like, he going to work out as long as he has to accomplish whatever it is that he set out to accomplish that day. Like, you watch this dude work out, man, like a significant part of his workout, he can't shoot a shot unless he could run a full court sprint. A shot. We all know like how great of a shooter Steph is.
Right.
Okay, so we can all imagine the amount of shots you have to shoot to be that great. He can't shoot a shot without running full court.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm sorry, but one shot? You gotta run all the way. And like, he getting up a ton of shots and he getting his work in respectable time frame. It ain't like, you know, sometimes you see him out there, he'd be out there for an hour and a half after practice. You're like, bro, he's still out there?
Yeah.
Like, but he getting his stuff done, because we all know the most important thing to Steph in his life is his family. He getting his stuff done and getting out that gym.
Yeah.
But the workout, man, it takes somebody 2.5 hours to do a workout. He doing 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just running. I'm like, bruh. But what I will tell you is like, when people work out with him, like I watch him dumb his workout down.
Mm-hmm.
Like when guys will go,
just because they know
I'm gonna go work out with Steph. I'm gonna go down there today. Like, and I watch him like dumb his workout down.
Yeah.
Like he dumb his workout down often.
Yeah.
Like if guys gonna come
work out with him. Because that's insane.
Like you can't.
That's insane.
No, his man.
Having a front row seat to watch the chef cook night after night has to be unreal. And even after nearly a decade of coaching Steph Curry, Steve Kerr still finds himself in awe of the things Steph pulls off on the court. There's one play, though, that legendary shot against the Clippers in 2015, where a soon-to-be MVP Steph danced through the entire defense before burying a three, that still leaves Kerr just as stunned today as he was in that very moment. Here's Steve Kerr reflecting on what that play taught him and how it still shapes the way he coaches Steph to this day.
This is my first year coaching Steph. I remember on the sidelines seeing him looking like Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters, dribbling through traffic, and then a fadeaway three. And in my mind, I'm thinking every coach that I ever had in my life, their voice was in my head saying, that's a terrible shot, that's a terrible shot, that's a terrible shot. So you see me on the sidelines, I'm holding my arms up. I'm thinking Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, their voices are in my head. Lute Olson, this is a terrible shot. What I eventually figured out is that it's a great shot because it's Steph Curry. The numbers don't lie. That's a shot he makes over 40% of the time. So I finally realized Steph gets to shoot whenever he wants.
Over the last decade, no two players have defined basketball more than LeBron James and Stephen Curry. They've broken records as individuals, battled in the finals countless times, and shaped the way the game is played around the world for now and the future. The respect they have for one another is obviously immense, and you can feel that every time they speak about each other publicly. Here's LeBron on his podcast discussing who he feels is the most influential player of all time.
He did. He single-handedly changed the no lead is safe. It's like Pat Mahomes right now. Since I've been watching the game, the most influence on the game, and obviously we know what Mike did for the game. Sure. Steph and Allen Iverson are the two biggest influential guys in our game since I've been watching and covering it. One, they're 6'3", 6'4", if you want to look on the back of a basketball card, you're always a lot taller on the back of the basketball card. Allen Iverson and Steph, they were just so relatable. Kids felt like they could be them. They were guys that was not always counted on. They were small in stature, and they just defied the odds. And now you have Steph, who's shooting over the Empire State Building. It's just like those two are the two most influential when you say their game, how they changed the game, and the kids, and like those are two guys that you just wanted to watch every single night.
Before Andre Iguodala became one of Steph's most trusted teammates, he had to face him as an opponent, and he saw the warning signs early. Back in the 2013 playoffs, Iggy was with the Nuggets when a young Steph and the up-and-coming Warriors gave them all they could handle, beating a fun Denver squad in 6 games. Fast forward a year, and now he's a Warrior in the same locker room with Steph, getting a whole new perspective. And that's when he witnessed one of the wildest practice moments in Warriors history, the kind of moment where everyone had to just stop and watch. Iggy's got stories from both sides, and they say a lot about who Steph has always been.
So the first time we saw the peak of it, like when I was in Denver and we played him in a series, he shot a shot in front of the bench, and right in front of our bench, the whole team's going crazy, like close to him. And he lets the ball go and turns around and tells them to shut up. Ball's like midair. It's like not even close to the rim. This is the opposing team was like, yo, I'd never seen that before during the game in that moment. But I'm such a competitor. I'm on the court. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. That doesn't impress me. That's just my competitive nature. But in practice one day, we got Carlos, the bums, the scrubs. So the second unit, we will always beat them, right? So the majority of the time we got the best of them. Them guys playing so many minutes, they were just trying to get a good 2-minute runs, 3-minute runs. But we win it most of the time. But this one day in practice, man, Steph went crazy. He wasn't missing. And it was now we blaming the sub refs, or what we call them, the alternate refs that come in to help us out. Now we cursing them out because he can't miss. And then if he missed, they call foul. And I remember one time I got mad and I forgot he was on my team and pushed him. He still made the shot. We played about 7 minutes, man. He had to have 25 points, man. It was crazy. And at one point, Sean Livingston just stopped. And it was yo, I don't know if I ever seen anything like this. This was next level. And I had to stop and was yo, that's different. Because when you're in the game playing with somebody that good, you're not really seeing how good they are because you locked in to do what you got to do. So you missing out on greatness by playing with greatness. That's a funny thing. Because when I watched Steph this past season, I caught myself being a fan a few times. Evan Turner was my man. And when we played them in the Western Conference Finals, Evan was bro, I almost clapped when he made a shot. Like, I forgot I was playing against him. He was like, man, I had never seen nothing like that. And he said Steph made 2 threes one time. He was like, damn, he good. But he was like, man, I had to catch myself. Like, oh shit, I'm on the other team.
When Germaine O'Neal joined the Warriors, he already had years of experience in the league. He'd seen greatness up close from guys like Reggie Miller and had been an all-star in his own right during his time in Indiana. But nothing quite prepared him for what he saw in Golden State's practices. There was something different about the way Steph and Klay approached jump shooting in practice, something a veteran O'Neal noticed right away, but couldn't quite put his finger on. At first, it didn't even make sense, until finally, it clicked. Here's Germaine sharing the moment that made him realize just how obsessive and precise the Splash Brothers really are.
But I got a real respect for Steph, Klay, and Draymond. I'm gonna tell you the thing that really jumped out to me about Steph and Klay. First, I walk into the gym, I see they always at the opposite, they're shooting at opposite goals. And so I just stopped and watched them shoot, right? And I hear him counting, and then they go in and he doesn't count. I'm like, well, why is he skipping some of these makes? He said, no, if it hit the rim, it don't count. Yeah. That's how they train. He said, if it hits the rim, that shot does not count. And he was shooting, I think it was 100 threes before and after practice, right? So when people see him shoot now, and it's just, that's reps. Yeah.
No reps.
Serious reps, bro.
Every young player in the league has their welcome to the NBA moment. And for Josh Richardson, it came in February of his rookie season, when he found himself matched up with Steph Curry during the unanimous MVP year, the chef at the absolute apex of his career. On Udonis Haslam's podcast, Richardson looks back on what it was like trying to guard a superstar moving at a different speed than everyone else.
We play the Warriors at home, and this is 2015-16. Gogi comes back that game, but I come off the bench, and my first matchup is Steph. And I'm like, bro, but you know me. I walk in, I chest him up as soon as I get in the game on the inbound. I'm just pushing him. I'm like, yeah, you're not doing that tonight. Not on me, brother. About 36 minutes later, and 42 Steph points later, I'm in the locker room like, nah, this can't be what it's like. I'm taking my stuff out like this. Nah, this ain't it.
Because you was the all defensive team in the SEC.
I was defensive All-American.
Defensive All-American. He was defensive All-American, so he used to getting stops playing both ends of the floor.
Yeah, but
that work on Steph?
Nah, I didn't. And then
some players talk about Steph's shooting. Others talk about his movement, his confidence, or the way he changes a game without even touching the ball. But when Paul George talks about Steph, he paints the whole picture. On his podcast, PG gives us the full experience, what it feels like to wake up knowing you've got Steph Curry on the schedule. The mental prep, the chaos, the exhaustion, it's all there. It's not one play or one moment, but the entire Steph Curry problem from the eyes of one of the league's best two-way players.
And I'm like, I just got out the shower, like, lotioning up. I'm like, yo, I got Steph. I'm about to lock him down. He still don't get it. Like, oh, okay, you guys, who you guys? You got the Warriors. So I'm like, yeah. So he's like, who you guarding? I'm like, bro, I said I'm gonna lock down Steph. Like, I got Steph. Like, I'm locked in, right? I said I'm gonna force him in the layups.
Run him off the three.
He's gonna have to beat me every time. No threes, bro. I couldn't stop none of it. I couldn't stop none of it. It's just his shot making, bro.
Dude,
it's good defense. It's good defense on anybody else. It's just his shot making. I hear he goes hard on practice. Like, I hear his game, his practice shots is the game. Like, he treats it like the game. What he does is impressive. He's the chirp that make you like think. And I think his shit talking is what he does to the crowd. He'll hit a shot and then he'll turn around and look at the crowd and be like,
do some old.
I'm him, or like, yeah, he won't necessarily say something to you. And if he does, it's like a quick like jab. You know what I mean?
Fake game crazy too.
His what? Pump fake?
Fake game.
Yeah, because he
crazy.
If any little space that he got is going up. And it's a bucket. You can't give him no air. No air.
Like,
that's why I told you, bro. I'm going to smother him. When we play, I'm going to smother him.
I'm running him off the line. It's my matchup tonight. I got this.
Give me the love for trying. I tried.
You was going against a hell of a shooter.
Alex Caruso has made a name for himself as one of the toughest perimeter defenders in the league. In an NBA that's constantly criticized for not showcasing enough defense, Caruso has made a career out of disrupting game plans and locking up the best players in the world. But when it comes to Stephen Curry, even Caruso must admit, sometimes there are simply no answers when the chef's got it going against you. When he was on JJ Redick's podcast, he broke down what it's really like trying to stay in front of the most dynamic shooter in basketball history, and why even perfect defense isn't always enough.
I would say of the guys that I match up with, the guys that I like am told to guard, like I'm not guarding AD, I'm not guarding Kevin Durant. Those guys don't see me. I'm only 6'5". Yeah, like guard wings, man, that dude's a menace. He's impossible. It's especially the way that they run their offense and the way that him and Draymond have this like telepathy. The guys that are back this year, like they're actually understanding how to play with him now, like how he operates, how he moves when he gives up the ball, and like continues to just run in circles until you fall asleep, and then he like shoots it from 30 feet basically. It's borderline at times. It's unguardable, because it's like what do you want to do? You saw the highlights against the Hawks, right? 50 burger. There was one possession, I can't remember what it was. I don't even know who was guarding him. Steph catches it on the right wing, bottom of the TV screen. And he's like, shimmy, shimmy. And the guy that's guarding him is shimmying in unison with him, like perfect defense. And then Steph just takes one dribble, sidestep, throws it up and goes in. I'm like, inbound the ball, we go into the next play. Like, you can't do anything about it.
If Alex Caruso says guarding Steph Curry can feel impossible, Drew Holiday, who's right there with him as one of the best guard defenders in the league, takes it a step further. His perspective sounds like less of a defensive strategy and more like a survival guide. Drew breaks down what makes guarding Steph such a nightmare: the endless movement, the split-second release, the unshakable confidence, and why, at times, it genuinely felt like he was chasing someone or something not of this world. And when asked what lengths he has gone to on the court to try and stop the future Hall of Famer, Drew doesn't miss a beat.
Everything. I literally try to do everything. All the tricks. If I try to chase them over so that they're not shooting threes, because if they're knocking down threes, they get into the paint. I'm like, as they're dribbling, I'm grabbing their arm, I'm pushing them, trying to give them off balance. I want them to start to complain and start yelling at the refs. Sometime on contest. So when you're a good defender, you get away with a lot more. Sometimes like you can like on the jump shot and you have a follow through, you hit them in the hand or the arm and they don't call it. Again, there's like little things that you can do to try to frustrate him. But Steph, he's an alien. I don't understand. I don't understand. I fouled him on a half court shot when we played him 3 weeks ago, and he still. I'm pretty sure he didn't even look at the rim, and he still almost made it. It hit the back of the rim, and they didn't call the foul. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you take? Can I get some of it, please? Because you're insane, dude. No, but basketball-wise, I'm like, he's putting this in the little kids' heads. Like, this is okay to try. No, it's not okay to try. Only he can do this. Only he does this. Nobody else. It's like sides, like there's shoot, like step backs. Hand in the face, getting fouled from 38 feet. I don't know. You wouldn't. I feel like you would know better than I would.
I don't have that
when
range.
It comes to shooting and scoring.
I don't have that range though. It's insane.
There are a lot of wild stories from the 2015 NBA Finals, but few are as unforgettable as the one J.R. Smith told on JJ Redick's podcast about Matthew Dellavedova. Now, Delly's effort in that series has become the stuff of legend, but the way JR tells it sounds like a war story. A man on the brink, doing everything he could to slow down the most dangerous shooter on the planet. And by the end of it, JR couldn't help but see Delly in a whole new light. Here's the story that made him respect his teammate forever.
3-1, because I felt like the year before, if we have Kyrie healthy, he goes out to Atlanta, Kev healthy, gets his arm pulled out, the Celtics series, the first series. If we have that team with that, with the way we were flowing, we win 15 for sure. I don't think the Warriors get as much confidence and start going on runs like they do without that first chip. Obviously, they were having a good year as a team regardless. I mean, Steph was having his year, Clay was having his year for sure. No knock to them, but I mean, you got. I love Delly to death, but Delly almost died guarding Steph Curry. No, literally almost died. We have footage of this man in an ice tub, like literally to his neck, trying to guard this man. Man,
fuck, he tried.
He tried.
No, he battled his ass off.
What?
Like, competed.
I love, just from watching that, Dellavedova is by far one of my greatest people I like of all time. He literally gave everything he had, and there was no excuse. There wasn't like, oh, he just had it going. It was like, no, it's like, oh, I'm trying, or no. It wasn't none of that. He could barely talk after. That's how hard he was trying. Like, that respect level to me, it goes through the roof.
For a player who made their legacy with the exact opposite play style, Shaquille O'Neal has said countless times that his favorite player in the league today is Stephen Curry. But during a post-game show on TNT, Shaq took his well-known admiration for the baby-faced assassin to an entirely different level. He didn't just praise Steph's shooting, his MVPs, or his impact on the game. In this clip, Shaq makes it clear where he believes Steph's name truly belongs. And it's a conversation that every NBA great strives to be in, but so few ever get placed there by their basketball peers.
As the supreme leader of the Big Man Alliance, I demand you fans to start putting Steph Curry in that greatest of all time conversation. And I'm saying, listen, I played against Mike, played with Kobe, played against and with LeBron. They're all great. But at some point, we're going to have to put Steph Curry in that category. I'm not saying he is, but let's just have the conversation. Like, I like all the internet talk and the barbershop talk, but I ain't never seen nothing like that before, and nobody has. And pretty special. And there's how many of them things he got. 1, 2, 3, 4 against LeBron. So I demand that you start putting my guy in that conversation. Period.